I recorded like the perfect video earlier today, but the video didn't look good because it was all bright outside. I want to read you something. I have some quotes here, and then we can talk because that's what this is. The first quote, Rumi, ancient Persian poet, alchemist, philosopher. He said, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens." Um, he has a lot of stuff about love and a lot of stuff about God and how you're God. You're not a drop in the ocean, you're an ocean in a drop. And the thing about alchemists is they know that our paths are full of pain, and they're supposed to be. And that's what the book The Alchemist is about. It's supposed to hurt because you won't grow otherwise. And it puts your pain into perspective, which every time I cross this path of getting into pain, I have to think my way out and alchemize. I have to change my perspective on the truth of the matter. What am I telling myself? So like the past couple of days, I've been learning about and reading about like more alchemical processes and other um, like esoteric uh, philosophies on why we're here, what the spiritual meaning of all this is, and what we're supposed to learn and do while we're here. And I was reading about soul contracts, the idea that before you incarnate, you make deals, contracts with certain souls to hurt you in a certain way or to help you grow in a certain way, technically. Just so happens that the way we grow is through pain. No one grows when they're comfortable, turns out. But in my experience, um, I was a really closed off person uh, from the get go, like from childhood. Whatever things happen, I started to become very closed off, and then over and over again, I trusted untrustworthy people, and then my heart got broken, or I felt betrayed, or whatever. And then eventually, I like when I awoke was essentially when I saw that it was for my benefit, that all those failures actually failed forward. Of course, like it hurts until you see that the universe is happening for you, not to you. So there's a fact here. You have to keep breaking your heart till it opens. Now the problem is when I first awoke, I was I could tell my vibration was the highest. Like I remember, I was glowing. Like people would come up to me and compliment me. Never happened to me in my life. Like I was dating a girl who used to model. She was like she's a ambiance model or something. I don't think that counts. And like people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, no homo, you look good." And I was like, "Bitch, you're so fucking lucky. You ever hung out with a guy and people are complimenting him instead of you?" You know, I felt untouchable. Um, the problem is that I was just happy and I was just trying to share it with everyone that came by, and I just assumed that because I was happy and because I figured out something, that the next thing that came would be right. And the next girl that came was someone very, like, frankly, very dangerous. Um, she had like done her homework on me and was like actually, uh, yeah, it was really weird. Like pretended she didn't know who I was and stuff, and then I won't get into it. It was really bad, but the thing is, like, I saw how it was to live. It was like maybe a month where I had like a super open heart. And it's the best I ever felt, still to this day. Only a month, but I know what I need to do to get back there. I don't want to take any shortcuts. Like I saw what it's like to be in heaven while on earth. And, you know, things happen that we don't like. And it's part of it, it's necessary. And then once you alchemize it, once you realize the purpose of it, then you use it as it becomes fuel rather than, you know, something that hinders you. So a lot of this, I talked to my ex yesterday. I ran into her twice in a week, and when we were talking, it didn't end on a positive note. But it was like she's obviously very attached to her emotions of me hurting her. And that's what I want to talk about. Is that she was telling me that I treated her like shit, and I'm like, how? What was I doing? Like, I never beat you, I never cheated on you. And she's like, oh, you did the bare minimum. I was like, okay, well, tell him, like, what are you saying that I did so I understand? And she brought up like something happened in Vegas. It was like the we had a amazing night together. We were holding each other tight the whole night, and it was like I've never felt like this before. And I finally met the one. We both saying that to each other, famous last words. And the next day we go to a pool party, and I almost get into a fight. And I was uncomfortable the whole time. Like we were around people that are liabilities, and I was sober. Like you really can't be in a place like that sober. And when the guy I was worried about started to make problems, like I made sure that he knew that the problem ends here. Um, and then I had, like when my body goes into fight or flight, I get like jittery. I have so much energy to fight or fly, and then if I don't use it, it's still circulating in your blood. Like, all these chemicals are just in me now, and I'm supposed to just like chill. Plus, the guy's like right next, he's at the table next to us. So like I have how some ass is I'm like always eyes in the back of my head. I know where she is. I know where he is. I know if anyone's looking, if anyone's trying to start shit, if there's any conversations. I'm instead of having fun, I'm thinking of that. And I just started watching around me. I was just started being super aware of my surroundings. And she's trying to have fun. I couldn't do it. And at a certain point, she got drunk, and we tried to go home. And like I don't, I've done things that I regret drunk. That's why I don't drink. I've, it brings out something latent inside. And she revealed some things, but also she was just emotional. So emotional that we were in the taxi cab. I think the guy's like looking at me in the thing to see if I'm like kidnapping her. Like she looked really unhappy with me. And then also like accused me of cheating, and then I'm like, it's okay, like it's just alcohol talking. Let's just get home. And then she thinks she's having a medical emergency, and I'm like, it's fine, nothing's happening. I promise. Like I'll take care of you. Everything's fine. Nothing's happening. And she's like hysterically crying and screaming at me. Like I'm like, like my job is to protect you, even if you don't want me to. I'm like, your mom put her trust in me, to let you come. And I'm like husband, father. I'm everybody to you. So even if you don't like what I have to say or how I'm handling it, like my first priority is to protect you, and I'm confident, especially because I was in fight or flight. Whatever I said was probably not the right thing to say. But like an entire relationship of doing my best to reaffirm that I love her and that she's perfect and that she's like physically perfect. She doesn't need to change anything. That I love your personality. I don't want to change any of that. She focuses on this because this proves what she already feels about herself. That was the thing that validated how she already feels inside. And of course, she's like, I feel stupid for opening up to you, and I feel like he used it against me, and I feel like it was a mistake, and all these things. And like the funny thing is, I felt exactly the same way. Like we are mirrors of each other. It's like we're the same person, the same thoughts going through us. It's like the same thoughts are being beamed into both of our heads at the same time. It's like, oh, this was a fucking mistake. It was a mistake trusting you. So, um, from my perspective, like I remember a lot more, and it's not that I want to hold it against her. It's not, you know what I mean? Like my job is to protect you, even from yourself. And I'm looking at this is my life partner. This is my, not just my girlfriend. Like I wouldn't be dating if I didn't like. I'm treating this person as if it's wife and mother of my kids. It's like, hey, we can't do this. Like this isn't okay. It's not okay to do this to your body. It's not okay to do this to me. Like how am I supposed to, is there any way I could say that without it being like, oh, you motherfucker, how dare you? Plus, like the situation, and we're just getting started, and you mean fight or flight, like, but I can't forgive you for that. There's no, I didn't, it was going to happen, just like the ladybug thing. Like, no matter what, that would have happened. She would have found something to grab onto that I said that validated how her unhealed trauma is. That's shit that predates me because I guarantee you I don't feel that way about her. And this is like that's the this was so frustrating because we miss each other it is like we speak different languages. Um, Even when we broke up, like I sent her a care package, like sweaters and like books that have helped me profoundly and something else. And she's like, "Fuck you! You're trying to change me. You're saying I'm not good enough and all this stuff." I like was so far away from thinking that was the case that it could be, you could see it that way, but she's seeing through her lens, through what she's grown up with and what she's dealing with. Everything comes from I'm protecting myself. She's in her masculine energy, and me like following the spiritual path, like it's a little feminine. Like it is considered feminine. Intuition is feminine. Um, Spirituality is feminine. They say that women are the spiritual protectors in the astral realm of men. They're stronger spiritually. They bring babies from the spiritual world into this one. Like that's something. Um, so from my perspective, being like on the spiritual path or whatever, I'm like, how do I protect you and say the right words and predict everything that's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like I know that it's impossible for me to say all the right things always. And there's one time, um, yeah, there's a lot of things like that it was just like the intention is received in a completely opposite way as the intent. The reception is not the same as the intention. Um, which brings me to the quote number 2 from Rumi. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Now, this happens to be something she complains about. You're trying to change me. You're saying I'm not good enough. I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I am you. I'm saying I've gone through the same stuff, and this is how I got over it. This is how I made my life better. This is how I alchemized. This is how you know, it's not a matter of like, I think her personality is perfect. I think she's intelligent. I think she's witty. I think she's beautiful. There's nothing about the person I want to change. But her inner monologue has nothing to do with me. Like that demon in her head saying he's you know he's trying to hurt you, or you're dumb for trusting him, whatever. That has nothing to do with me. And I'm like, hey, this is how you get a control of it. Why wouldn't I share that? And why is sharing that met with hostility? I know why, but it's my mistake because I'm not being an alchemist. Because my life, I went through a lot of cycles. And every cycle is a chance to wake up, to, to seek and you shall find, to find God. Essentially, every time you're hurt and you have these emotions and you are overwhelmed and you want to like escape, every single time, that's a chance to alchemize, to change things, to wake up. But that's something we do individually. It was my mistake trying to help or change that for someone else. Not my place, not even possible. If anything, I was in her way. Just like anyone who was trying to help me, like honestly, would have been in my way. I wouldn't have listened to anybody. Didn't matter what their pedigree is or how much they loved me or whatever. I wouldn't have listened. And obviously, she's the same person. And the spiritual path is inward individually. Dark night of the soul is dark because you're alone. You have to do it alone. I was also thinking that my dream about the abyss was like this nightmare is dragging me into the abyss. And I know in the hero's journey, you're supposed to go into the abyss. That's part of it. I think Aleister Crowley talked about it. And he named the demon inside the abyss. You know what is inside the abyss is you, your imagination. Your imagination comes up with the demon that then you have to conquer. And that's the path to enlightenment. So you're supposed to go. I mean, you're supposed to face your demons. You're supposed to do this. But it's an individual thing. And like in my heart, my heart's in the right place. I'm like, I want to help you. I know what is coming. I feel like you're about to have something profound happen, and I want to be there to support you, and so you don't feel lost, and that I mean, not to, you have to be this way. It's like it's possible that she has her spiritual awakening. We become even more disparate, more different. Um, but what Rumi the alchemist is talking about here is exactly applies. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. So the idea is we, people, human beings, project our inside, outside. So every opinion you have on everyone in your life, anyone who triggers you, is telling you something about yourself. That's how it works. Because we cannot self analyze. We analyze ourselves by how we react. And the idea with alchemy is you catch yourself reacting and then you figure it out. And I know that without this relationship, I wasn't working on anything. I thought it was good enough. And I'm like, well, what's the next fucking step, God? Like, what's the next lesson? Let's go, let's go. Not realizing that I still have some of the same shit that I've had my whole life because homegirl's pointing at me and said, you make me feel like this. And then telling me what I'm doing, that I'm, my inner monologue of it's going to fail became reality. I'm like, fuck, she's right. She can see it in me and I can see it in her. But we can't see it in ourselves. But that's why it's like a divine thing. It makes sense, this concept of soul contracts, this concept of uh, you make a deal with someone before you come here. Like you hurt me in this way and wake me up, and then you know what I mean? We'll figure it out together, or separately. Um, and the idea with twin flames is the same soul split into two, so there's this strong pull. I think there's like a Chinese proverb where it says that two people are connected with an invisible red string. And no matter where they are on the planet, that string is in contact, and then eventually they're destined to interact. And that interaction is profound. It feels like it feels like in my last relationship, it felt like we started in the middle of the relationship. It felt like we knew each other our whole lives. We skipped the honeymoon phase and went right into like deep rooted issues, uncovering really deep shit, which again on the surface is like, hey, go fuck yourself. You're a terrible human being. You make me feel awful. Leave me alone. But I know how this shit works, and I'm like, this is actually profound. I had healthy relationships before. I like ended them amicably. And like clean, like a clean shit where you don't have to wipe. It's like, there's no coming back. And then with this, it's been so tumultuous, and there's so much like, like, um, So much emotion, so much energy is meant to be alchemized. So rather than my mistake is, even if it's to persuade her to change, to evolve, that's incorrect. I have to change myself. I was making a huge mistake. She was right to be upset about it. The idea is when I fix my inside world, the outside world reflects that. And that's true for every human being. FYI, it's not just people on the spiritual path, it's everybody. That's what Jung was talking about. Jung took alchemy and made it academic. It's a spiritual thing. And one of the most important figures of all time, easily. I wish he was around today to talk about what the fuck's going on out here. I heard the Olympic ceremony was really special. Don't read into it. Um, anyways, so because we project and we can't see ourselves, a relationship that does this, I think is a divine thing. So like, it can't be an accident. There are no such thing as accidents in this world. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're supposed to be together, but it means this was a very important person. This was a very important relationship because it showed, I mean, it's supposed to show both of us, but it's showing me the inner work that I have to be doing. Oh, fuck, like things that I thought I was past, things that I thought I was over. So I still have work to do. I'm not at the promised land yet. So I'm changing myself. And I feel so calm in comparison, even to last week. Like the thing is, I've been listening to my intuition. So like, there's left brain. They say is the devil. Your logical brain that's trying to protect you is the one that says like the one that told me block her and don't ever look back. This is a problem. She's a nightmare. And then the right brain is like, no, there's something here. The way this, I'm magnetically drawn to this person. Physically, like I've never had this in my life. So that's like a hard thing to admit because I'm fucking 40. It's like I don't know how many times I have left of that, but it's like there's something so profound about the connection. And this side of the brain, the left side, is like, well, your subconscious mind is fucking unhealed and it's going to seek out the same thing. But even so, that's an academic reason. But this is a spiritual world, so it's still meant to happen. All the heartbreak and all the other shit that's ever happened, like betrayals and really rough stuff, was all for my benefit. It all worked out. So like this, shielding myself off, which is going to be the next thing. Shielding myself off was was not the solution. That was keeping me in prison, basically. I'm sure I missed something that I want to talk about there, but it's a good transition to quote number 3. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. How fucking true is that? We're like looking for someone who doesn't trigger us. We're looking for like this. Like I was talking to my friend about twin flames or soulmates, and she was like, "Don't you want to meet someone who's already done the work, and then you don't have any issues?" And I said, "That's boring. No one's gonna drop their fork and be like, what? It was easy the whole time and nothing happened." But love is all around us, all the time. but we have built barriers against it because we secretly, we especially children of like trauma and abuse and neglect, feel undeserving of it. So even if we see it, we're going to self sabotage it. We have built barriers against it. And I see that in my ex. She sees it in me. And it's what a fucking tragedy, right? There's a lot of barriers. A lot. And how do you figure them out? I think it was Vivian Green who said, life's not about avoiding the storm, but learning how to dance in the rain. So to me, like, this is probably the most important relationship I've had because the other times I was hurt, I was unconscious. So it was my subconscious mind leading me. This time I'm conscious. My logical side of the brain said, leave this one alone. This one's fucked up. We're going to get hurt. She's going to take her day out on me. And it's not that she's fucked up, it's that she's very comfortable expressing anger and not very comfortable expressing love. She really protects that. And guess what? Game recognizes game. I was like, from miles away, I was like, there's going to be two of us? No, thank you. No, not a recipe for. Although I do think we would make one normal looking person. The mix of our DNA, like my scrawny little stick legs, like toothpicks. Um, anyways, yeah, find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. She told me I have some kind of sad samurai eyes, some kind of Japanese, you're gonna have a tough life eyes. She also, the first thing she told me is I look like Sid from Ice Age. I was like, look, I don't believe in hitting women, but you're really pushing it. She's like, what? I would fuck him. And I was like, look, okay, let's go upstairs. Um, you see, like, there's something about this one. It's hard. It's hard. I bet you if we were just friends, we'd be best friends. But there's this like, it's not possible. At least not for years from now. I don't think. It's just there's this super super attraction. I don't know. What else on that subject? So we're on different frequencies. That's obvious. My intuition. My intuition. So several times in my life, my intuition has saved my life. And that's why I listen to it. That's why I look for signs and synchronicities everywhere. Is because a few times I noticed a synchronicity when I was in my unconscious state and I ignored it and something fucking horrific happened. And I was like, I swear to God, the universe told me before. And I ignored it. I was like, this doesn't exist. Why would I change my plans? I want to have fun. And it happened enough that I was like, you know, I have the right kind of autism for pattern recognition. I'm a slow learner, but I learn. And so I had warning synchronicities, and then I listened to Wayne Dyer and Carl Jung, and Jung said synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those with eyes to see, and he's talking about this one. That's why he said eyes means three. And then Wayne Dyer said, when you're in flow with the universe, synchronicity becomes the norm rather than the exception. And I'm telling you, it's every day. It's every day. Like twice in 1 week, like the first time I see synchronicity, I'm about to see her. Then the second time I pull in the parking lot, 777 on my dash, and like 2 parking spots away from her. It's like, what? Okay, you think it's random? Okay, And what if it is not? Then what? What's the purpose? That question really fucking disturbed my peace for a while. So what is this? I just got over her. What the fuck? Um, I went through a lot of mental gymnastics to get over it. It's like, oh, she must be a narcissist. Oh, she must be an energy vampire. Oh, she must be this, she must be that. And I can't, I mean, like, I can't just leave it like, there's no way at this point in my life I can't spot a narcissist from miles away. So I think, like, this is just, I'm doing the math on how this works logically, and then at the same time do the math on how this works spiritually. And like, okay, why would God do this? Why is God punishing me? Why am I punishing me? Um, so I guess where I'm at now is that I've been resisting my intuition because it's like I don't feel like I'm psychic. You know what I mean? I felt like it on Wednesday when I was like, I'm about to see her and saw her. I was like, if I have this superpower, I'm going to use it all the time for bad shit too. Like Marty from Back to the Future. Buy the sports almanac and get rich like Biff. One of the best movie franchises of all time. I hope they never remake it. You can never replace Michael. What was I talking about? Time travel for some reason? Um, I bet she hasn't even seen Back to the Future. Fucking dumb. Anyways, I was thinking like, okay, so what's the purpose? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? I actually asked her, like, what do you think the purpose of us meeting was? She's like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, I know you don't know. I have to figure this out. So this idea of soul contracts or twin flame or soulmates or whatever, it's just a different, it's the same. It's a polarity. It's the same, different measurement of the same thing. Like how hot is it? How cold is it? This means that there is a purpose, a divine purpose, technically, which is like the best kind. And man struggles, man suffers because he takes seriously what the God's made for fun. Like we're supposed to like spiritually grow while we're here. I think everybody is supposed to. And I think the more unrest people have is because they're ignoring that. They're ignoring their soul. And what I'm trying to do, I know when I have emotions, my soul's telling me something. So I had like when we broke up, I said the words, but like she she gave up a while back. It was like we're barely hanging out. Like we've spent the night together twice. Like I don't feel like I'm in a relationship. You don't come anywhere with me. Like I'm going. Like had my birthday dinner with my mom alone. She broke up with me for my birthday. It was just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And why is like everything I've done, you hold like never forgets. And then every outburst, I'm like, she's just hurt. I forgive you. I forgive you in advance, even. I fucking knew that I had to forgive her in advance when I decided to go into it. But fuck me, does it take a piece of your soul dealing with this? It's like I love you so much, but I can't do this. I can't live like this. I did it. I watched my parents do it. I can't fucking do it. I'd rather be alone. Like you never feel more alone than in a relationship like that. It's like my needs weren't met for 1 fucking hour, and I knew that going in. I knew that when My mom. Like when someone is hurting inside, that's what their focus is silencing that hurt. So while I'm like leaving me at school and forgetting, and being late to drop me off, pick me up, neglected me, like she doesn't remember any of it. I made it my identity though. Anytime she said anything like she wanted to hug me, kiss me, and I was like, I didn't accept. But the things that she did wrong, I was like, you fuck you forever, and I meant it. I held on to it. I couldn't empathize. I was like, I was an innocent child. Why weren't you protecting me? Why weren't you paying attention to my needs? No one even made sure I ate. I swear to God, for weeks at a time, the only meal I had was at school. And then they would forget to buy my lunch tickets. And I was a shy kid, so I wouldn't ask for free lunch. I was just starved. When I was a baby, they were like, oh, he's such a good kid. He doesn't complain. It's like, because when I cried, nobody came. And then in my relationships, it's been the same fucking thing. When you cry, I'm there trying my best, and it's being pushed away. When I cry, no one's there. Break up with me for my birthday. And it's my fault. I just figured something out. Journaling is really helpful. Um, I've been trying to solve the same problem my whole life. And this is a God thing. Something God can solve, not me. And the interesting thing is, I feel like I feel like I have been given signs enough to foreshadow what's on the horizon. And I feel like a lot of things are changing in my life soon. And because of that, I'm excited. But you know that period of time where I said I was like super happy? It's like vibrating super high and everyone noticed. I felt guilty. I felt guilty because everybody around me is suffering. I felt like it was unfair. And then I wanted to bring people up. I started to open doors that were closed behind me to see if I could help people that I knew were suffering and would suffer the rest of their life if I didn't help. And since I made that decision, I haven't been back to that high vibration. But what, like, I suppose I'm supposed to get there and hold the vibration so the universe matches. But I thought, like, what good is this if I'm alone? Wouldn't it be better to suffer with everybody else? Go back to being unconscious, just so I have company. But I've tried and I can't. I can't be unconscious. I can't go drink and do drugs and fucking party and kill my brain and my body for acceptance. Join the crowd. I can't do it. Everyone my age is buying like $300,000 watches, and then some random dickhead is gonna pull a gun out on you, and then it's over because you're so cheap that you wear your money. I can't do it. I can't do it. So my path has to be this way, and whoever's meant to come will come. My job isn't to change anybody or fix anybody. I can't. People change and fix themselves. They evolve on their own. But I'm telling you, like, I see myself in everybody around me. I'm My spiritual ability is empathy. So when I walk in a room, I absorb more information than the average person. I know what's happening inside, even especially when people don't talk about it, especially. And it weighs heavy on me. And that's why, like, spiritual conversations with people recharge my battery. That's what fills my heart. Helping people fills my heart. Buying things and looking a certain way and getting acceptance for, like I said, I don't have social media for a reason. Like, hey, those things don't interest me. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm weird. I think there's more to life, and there is more to life. Like, I know more than you. You know what I mean? Like, I've experienced it. I'm not making it up. It's in my fucking books. People talk about it. I stumbled on a path that already existed, standing on the shoulders of giants. The path has overgrowth on it, so I'm like hacking my way through, and every now and then I get lost. But I came from the same world everybody else is living in, where it's just like survive till the next day. What's the next thing I can buy? What's the next thing I can? How can I show people I'm happy? Everything has to be presented. Look how happy I am. Look how happy I am in this picture. Look how happy I am with this person I settled for. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing this game, you know. Um, I was gonna say like I can't predict the future, but I think I can. Frankly, I think I can, and I think I know what's gonna happen in my life, and I think I know what's gonna happen globally as well. Um, Globally, things will get a lot worse, and then they will get much better. But it's necessary. And in my life, I think the bad parts are done. Even though the world's going to shit around me, my vibration's high. I'm going to heaven. You can meet me there if you want. Whoever wants. That quote I heard about don't commit to me, commit to evolving, and I'll meet you there. It's like that's it. That is it. So I'm not holding on to anything. I don't want this specific thing. I don't want to like I'm removing the barriers I have to love. I'm not going to shield myself off, and I'm going to be happy every day. I'm not going to feel guilty about it, and I'm not going to regress. Like now, the doors are opening for my spiritual path to be. It's like the next step where I get to share it with people who are like-minded, who want help, rather than people who don't want help. You know, I'm not gonna. I've done it many times where I can feel someone's pain and I can see that they know the answers, and I'm like, just look. You have to look inside. You're so close. And, you know, either in this lifetime they're not going to be ready, or some worse things have to happen, or it's up to God and them. Frankly, um, I know this like feels like a downer, but it's like I am just accepting that the message has been to let go. Because God has it handled. Everything's going to be great. Are you ready for the last quote? This one's a paragraph. It's long. Lose your head. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of a needle. You are ready, see? Sweet souled answer. You are ready to live beyond what you know. To have it not matter if you don't understand how life can work itself out, or how it can be that someone so normal and ordinary as you and I could also be magnificent, wild, and divine. The need for answers and plans, assurances and explanations is passing out of your world now. You are to let go of any stigma around not knowing. Know nothing and dance, sweet soul, for all will unveil itself to you in perfect harmony and timing. Your heart shall create the steps in response to the music of the spheres happening now, alive and spontaneous and free. Good way to end it. That was a good one. I hope everyone gets to go on their hero's journey. At least there's light at the end of my tunnel, you know? Some people just live in darkness the whole time. Um, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Love you lots, and I will see you whenever I see you. Thanks.